Pollo Loco. It is game 2 between the Dodgers and the Phillies. And John, you're right, they're trying to keep it rolling after what was a wacky win last night. Is 1-1. Chopper to third, off Franco, and Puig's aboard to start the inning. Lashed into left center field, a base hit. Herrera cuts it off on the base of the trap. Puig's headed for the plate. Here's the throw, not in time. Towering pop fly. Unable to advance Kemp. Unless it falls and Hernandez boots it. Kemp's headed for third. The Dodgers catch a break. 2-2. A bouncer off of Morgan, who flips it to first, not in time. The game is tied, and the door is still wide open. Yasmani Grandal. It's a bouncing ball past Kingery into left. From down 4-0 to up 5-4. And that is how they got one of the most memorable wins of 2018. Joe Orellana joins us in a moment, but none of that would have been possible if not for what the bullpen did. 5 shutout innings, and it's a continuation of a trend during this 9-2 stretch.
The starters have led the way, but the bullpen has finished it off in a big way. It doesn't matter if it's been Baez or Goodell or Singrani or Alexander. They've all been doing the job. In this streak, 4 and 5 innings each, 0 or 1 runs, and Kenley, the big fella at the end, has been really perfect. 6 saves.
Tonight, the starting pitching matchup, a very good one. Kenta Maeda has been as good as anybody his last 2 times out, and it's Jake Arrieta. The Dodgers seen him in a Phillies uniform for the first time.
Yeah, big contract for Jake Arrieta, and he has been fantastic. Maybe not up to the Cy Young standards, but possibly an all-star this year. And Kenta Maeda is performing like an all-star, and maybe a Cy Young Award winner in his last 2 starts. You'd love to see that continue.
Dodgers trying to continue their winning ways. 9 of their last 11. 5-2 on this homestand, making her very happy, making him think that he might need another sleeve for that jacket. First pitch coming up. Dodgers baseball on Sportsnet LA is brought to you by El Pollo Loco. Try $5 combos at El Pollo Loco, like the original Pollo Bowl with chips and a drink. 4-game series. We go down to the field now, brought to you by El Pollo Loco. Here's Alana.
All right, Joe, thanks very much. After 4 innings of a spot start yesterday, right-hander Brock Stewart has been optioned back to AAA Oklahoma City. They have recalled versatile infielder Breivik Valera to be able to sit on the bench and perhaps make a start in this series. Dave Roberts says the way that the starting staff has been able to get deep into ball games, the bullpen has coverage and is well rested, and they could use that extra bat off the bench, guys.
And Valera's been awesome in AAA. See some of the numbers there. What that doesn't show is an on-base percentage that was among the very best in all of minor league baseball. Kenta Maeda trying to keep things rolling here with his 10th start of the season. And ready to face these Phillies. The lineup brought to you by 76. The big blow last night came from the leadoff man, Cesar Hernandez. Clubbed a 3-run home run. Pedro Florimon bats second, his first start of the series. That means no Rhys Hoskins, who fouled that ball off his face last night, split his lip, is available off of the bench. Herrera and Santana. And right field, Aaron Altair with Nick Williams in left. The rookie Kingery at short, and the rookie Alfaro doing the catching. Maeda's last time out, a season-high 12 strikeouts over 6 2/3 shutout innings, and that came after 8 shutout innings at Miami, and that is the one really that started this 11-game stretch where the Dodgers have been so good.
Starters have been so good, and Kenta Maeda has led the way. Those 14 2/3 innings of scoreless ball, a lot of fastballs and a lot of good sliders. Kenta really dating back to a mechanical change when he got hot here, slowing down his body, allowing the arm to work better. And I'll tell you what, even though he's slowed down his body, he's still aggressive, and that aggressiveness is in the strike zone.
And I think it's important tonight to reference Austin Barnes as we look at our Dodger defense, brought to you by Keck Medicine of USC. Look at those numbers when Austin Barnes catches Kenta Maeda. 25 2/3, and Maeda's allowed just 1 run.
Very comfortable with what he's putting down, and he and Kenta are on the same page, and that is a very good feeling for a pitcher, where he can concentrate on execution and just follow his catcher along.
That includes each of these last 2 starts. 4 measly hits over 14 2/3 shutout innings, where he has struck out 20 over those last 2. We're all set, and off we go with a fastball for strike 1. The Dodgers have won 9 of 11 since that 6-game losing streak, which felt like rock bottom, not just for this season, but for this dominant run in the division the last few years. A breaking pitch falls in for a strike, 0-2. And lately they've got it going at home, 5-2 on this homestand. Went fastball, then curveball. Now a breaking pitch slapped down the line, inside the line. A base hit, and Hernandez opens the game with a double.
Third base number 18, Pedro.
0-2 breaking ball, and he does a very nice job waiting back and slashing that ball down the left field line with his speed. This was going to be an easy double. Kenta in this scoreless streak gave up a 1-out double and pitched around that and didn't give up a run. Here he's going to have to pitch around a no-out double.
Pedro Florimon. Attacks the first pitch and fouls it back. Phillies have dropped 3 of 4. 4-6 over their last 10 games. And their first year under Gabe Kapler. Talked about it last night, but the season got off to an awful start. They were 1-4 to begin. But one of the best records in the National League since then, 28-18. Maeda pitches, and a fastball taken high.
Over the whole season, left-handed hitters have hit Kenta better than the right-handed hitters. In this hot streak he's in, that was only the 5th hit, and 3 from lefties and 2 from righties, so pretty equal.
Florimon bunts through it, 1-2. Saw Florimon last night. His strikeout ended the game, but it didn't show up in the box score against him. Went against Rhys Hoskins, who he replaced. On a 1-2. Taken high. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
That was a crazy play to watch him swing on a Kenley Jansen, what he thought was going to be a cutter. So he started to swing a little early when the ball was in on him. And by the time the ball ran completely in on him, he was fouling a ball into his own face.
You ever seen that?
I don't think I have.
Curveball low, and Florimon's worked it full. And you've seen a little bit of baseball in your day, Earl.
I have, but I've seen guys swing and the ball hits themselves, but then to have it foul and go right in their face. I'm sorry to laugh, but it's just so odd. We've seen full swings and the guy get hit right in the chest or on the hip.
3-2. Fouls it off himself. Tough luck for these guys.
Isn't it always the guy that has the shin guard? It misses the shin guard. It's right down there in the area where he's trying to cover, but just missed it. And usually the guys that wear the shin guards do it a lot. That's why they wear them.
Florimon's been around, 31 years old, out of the Dominican Republic. Parts of 8 seasons in the major leagues, but that's been mostly just spot duty. Really just one season where he stuck around it all, back with the Twins a few years back. Getting a decent amount of playing time this year. Hernandez at second with the leadoff double, and the 7th pitch coming from Kenta Maeda to Pedro Florimon.
We complimented this battery early in the game here, the beginning of the game, and how they're on the same page and over 25 innings together this year and only 1 earned run. But right here, they can't figure out what they want to throw.
Changing the signs up with the runner at second. Maeda shoots him a glance and now delivers, and a pop fly will do it again. Now, Kenta's faced the Phillies 4 times in his career. He's 3-0 against them. And tonight making his 10th start of his 3rd year. This one's put in play, and it'll be an easy play for Chris Taylor, and the first out of the night.
It's been slow, but boy, Kenta has been hitting his spots. Lots of strikes and hitting the spots. Just that 0-2 curveball that gave up the double, but that's some outstanding pitching right there to get that pop up.
Florimon limps his way back into the dugout. Really stung him on the foul ball. 1-on-1 out. Here's Odubel Herrera, who has reached base in 48 of his 50 games this year. That included the first 41.
He's having a special year, above what he has been as an all-star once. This is his best year and best start.
El Torito, the little bull, is nicknamed growing up. His dad, Odubel Sr., gave him that nickname as a kid because he was thick, even a little bit chubby when he was a kid. And his dad very involved in his baseball upbringing, always coaching him, still to this day teaches him, and says he often goes up there into the batter's box and feels like he's got his dad right there with him, with his voice in his head. Strokes a looping liner to left field that Kemp comes on and puts away. An odd looking flight to that ball as it's carved out to left for out number 2.
Two outstanding fastballs in to left-handed hitters that Kenta has jammed them, hitting his spot. When the hitters get under those two. Look at that target and look where it ends up. Doesn't leak back over the middle of the plate too far.
So after the leadoff double, couple quick outs, and it's Carlos Santana, Philadelphia's hottest hitter. Big free agent signing for them as far as position players go this offseason. Of course, you see Jake Arrieta on the mound today. But among the position players, this was the big ticket item. 3 years, $60 million. 32-year-old who started his pro career as a Dodger farmhand.
This is where you watch statistics as a player and you don't start with the overall ones. You start with what's happened lately, and this guy's hitting over 400 in the last 6 games. So you don't look at the 214 average for the season. You want to know who's in a lineup hot and who's not.
1 ball, 1 strike. And if you expand it even a little bit beyond that, he's been much better here in May. After a nightmare of a debut month in Philadelphia. That's got to be tough. You sign that big contract. You're supposed to be the veteran guy in the order with a lot of free swinging youngsters. And he was sitting well below 200 over the first month. Leaves the fastball up, and it's 2-1.
I'm sure he heard a few of the boo birds that Gabe Kapler heard and Santa Claus has heard.
Yeah.
Those Philly fans are tough ones. When Veterans Stadium was still around in Philadelphia, their bullpen was like a little echo chamber, and the fans were like 1.5 stories above you, leaning over. And when they yelled, oh!
Close play, but not in time.
They picked me off. But the voices would just echo down in the chamber as we watch Kenta. And this looks like it's a timing play that was so close. I actually would like to make that throw a little closer to the left field side, but outstanding in turning and not looking and getting it that accurate.
Dave Roberts says play on.
So it didn't take many voices in Philadelphia to fill the bullpen with noise, and throughout the whole game it usually got louder because they were drinking more beverages.
Yeah,
it just got more belligerent and louder and louder and louder. So what you got as a starter down there in the bullpen warming up for the game was not what your bullpen was going to hear during the game. They got it worse.
So Chase Utley debuted. Decade and a half for the Phillies. Hernandez is second, 2 gone and a scoreless first inning. And Maeda to Santana with a 2-2 pitch. Fastball by the hands, runs it full.
We'll see that with pitchers, that if they've had success in a certain area against a certain style hitter, or left-handed or right-handed, they will return there for a key pitch, and that's what Maeda and Barnes have done here in the first inning to record those first 2 outs.
Now 3-2. The changeup fouled back. Using the changeup against Santana, partially because Santana is one of the worst in baseball against the change.
And that wasn't a good change. I mean, it was off speed, but it was up. It was still on the plate, and so he still had a shot at it. But if he's one of the worst, then he's not going to get an easier one to hit.
Using that new split grip in 2018. See what he goes to on 3-2. Pitch high, and he's walked Santana. Only Joey Votto has drawn more walks than Carlos Santana since he broke into the league about a decade ago. First and second with 2 out. Kenta Maeda's just not had the same look about him so far in this one.
He's attacking the strike zone until Santana, and the double was put him on his heels a little bit, but he sure responded well to that. Got to get back in there now. 20 pitches here in the first. You not only want to post to 0, but you want to do it in a hurry right now.
And facing a guy in Aaron Altair who is 1 for 9 against him lifetime, but that one hit left the yard. 2 on 2 out. And starts him with a curve for a strike. Curveball's been a big part of his success lately. Using it more frequently. And using it to steal strike 1 there. One and one. On the corner with a slider, one of the first we've seen. 1-2.
The walk was a slider, I think, but I think it turned out to be a cutter that he just slipped out of his hand at 86. That slider is much better when it's 83, 84, and even drop it down as low as 81.
Uses it much more to right-handed hitters. This is the first one that he's seen. Went to it again to finish Altair. And despite needing 25 pitches in this first inning, giving up a leadoff double and a walk, no damage done. And Jake Arrieta takes the ball when you come back. By 76, Max Muncy to lead it off, and then it'll be Justin Turner. And for the first time this year, Cody Bellinger, despite being mired in a slump, is hitting third. Got the protection of Matt Kemp in the cleanup spot. Then it's Chris Taylor, Huygen right, Forsythe at second, and Barnes doing the catching. Against Jake Arrieta, who signed a 3-year, $75 million contract 2 weeks before opening day, so hurried up to get his arm ready. Debuted about a week into the season and has been very good so far.
Been really good, and especially the off-speed stuff has not been hit hard at all as far as the way it's rated. 0 hard hit balls on the off-speed stuff. That it would be the changeup and the curveball.
Michael Franco thought he was getting a night off. Instead, he's in there in the first inning with Pedro Florimon fouling that ball off his foot earlier. That's at the knees, a ball and a strike on Muncy. He lead off for the 3rd time this year. Dodgers have won each of his first 2 starts there. 1 ball, 2 strikes. It's a sinker from Jake Arrieta that he throws more than 60% of the time. The hard stuff usage way up from where it's been historically, which is interesting when you consider the numbers you gave, and that is how effective the off speed has been.
Pitching more to contact now, not looking for the strikeout.
It's a ground ball at first. Santana for the first out. And take a look at the Phillies defense, brought to you by Keck Medicine of USC. They gifted the Dodgers an opportunity in last night's game.
Whether it was a drop pop up or a booted ball at third that got called a hit, they did help and open the door for the Dodgers comeback, which ended up being the largest comeback of the year. They were down 4-0.
1 away for Justin Turner. Arrieta overthrows the first one. You mentioned Jake Arrieta not being as much of a strikeout guy this season. What he is doing is inducing ground balls, the number 3 ground ball percentage in baseball. Got a ground ball for the first out. Turner hits a fly ball to left field here that Nick Williams will settle under. 2 out. Seeing the evolution of a pitcher who's into his early 30s.
Center fielder, number
32 now in his 9th year in the majors.
Well, the ground ball percentage up, and I'm sure a guy like Justin Turner was telling himself, make him get the ball up. Got one and just missed it.
So an interesting thing here with Cody Bellinger, 3 for his last 38. Yet finding himself in the 3 spot for the first time this year.
It is interesting, and Cody in a rocking chair really with Justin in front of him and Matt Kemp, the hottest Dodger, behind him. So in certain situations he's got a chance tonight with Dave Roberts putting him in that chair of getting some better pitches to hit, because you wouldn't want to get to Kemp.
Filthy movement on that power changeup. 1 and 2.
Sometimes you encourage a player and tell him how good he is, remember how good he is, and then you give him evidence by, look, I'm going to hit you in the 3-hole tonight. That's how much I believe in you.
Arrieta challenges him with a fastball, and it's fouled off. 6 2/3 shutout innings his last time for his first win in May. That was against a very good Atlanta lineup last Wednesday. He delivers another 1-2, and Bellinger takes it low. 4 years with the Baltimore Orioles, 4.5 years with the Cubs. 68 wins in those 4.5 seasons. It's a fastball by him and a 1-2-3 first for Arrieta. Off and rolling in this one, and the Dodgers and Phillies scoreless after 1. The slider usage way up, and he's always been a guy that's leaned on that slider, but especially the last 2 games he's been throwing it a lot. And opponents hitting below 100 against him in those 2 games as the usage has climbed.
Changing speeds, changing shapes on it.
Nick Williams goes after the first pitch and hits it foul.
Kenta's got one of those optical illusion sliders, and I think the spin on it is a little different than other guys, where they don't really perceive the red dot that forms on a lot of sliders that triggers the hitter knowing that he's got a slider and what it's going to do. His dot's a little tilted up almost, the way he kind of comes through it with his hand. I don't think they pick it up right away.
You mentioned him changing shapes, sometimes so distinctly different, the shape from one slider to the next, that when you look at the charting sites, it gets charted as a cutter. Ahead of Williams 0-2. Gets in on him, fly ball to right, muscling that one deep, sending Puig back and gone. They put that thing in on Williams' hands, but he's still able to turn on it and crush it out of here for a home run, giving the Phillies a 1-0 lead.
Shortstop.
One of the benefits of batting 6th is seeing how other left-handed hitters have been attacked, and it almost looked like Williams is sitting on that fastball in as quick as he turned and pulled his hands in. That's where Kenta went on Foreman and Herrera and got pop-ups, but not with that swing.
Home run number 5 of the season for Williams, who's continued to earn more and more playing time. A lot of it, though, has been what he's done as a pinch hitter. So up comes Scott Kingery. Ball 1. On the corner for a strike.
See that slider there at 80, and that almost looks like a hard curveball, but that's still a slider. And then he's thrown some tonight that haven't broken as much at 86. Some strikeouts at 84. He throws it for a strike more often than any of his pitches. Ahead of the fastball, 73%, almost 74% of the time. Kenta throws that slider for a strike.
Here he comes to the 1-2. Kingery lifts a fly ball to left center field. Kemp and Bellinger. It's Matt Kemp for the first out.
Catcher number 38, Jorge Alfaro.
1-0 Phillies in the second, and up comes the catcher Jorge Alfaro. He was put on a show in batting practice each of the first 2 days the Phillies have been in LA. You can see why. It's a big man, Oral.
He's a big man and swings a very fast bat. I mean, it's amazing where he hits balls, and consistently in BP. Almost, I'm surprised he hasn't hit one out of the stadium. Maybe sometime in this 4-game series, they could BP here 4 times. He will.
On the first one for Maeda, takes it low and outside, ball 1. Doesn't turn 25 years old until a couple weeks from now. Debuted late last year, put up good offensive numbers, but the Phillies will tell you this is still a raw young player, and I think it's kind of growing on the job still. Maeda gets a swing and a miss with a slider, and it's 1-1.
It's got to be really tempting to know you can hit a ball as hard and as far as he can and not cut down your swing, just make contact. Look, you got plenty of power. I don't need 100% out of you. 75% will be an all-star. You can figure out a way to hit it solid with a little less effort.
Pummels a line drive to left for a base hit. Kemp's not going to be able to cut this one off. Alfaro headed for second with a double.
Pitcher.
Well, if you're Kenta Maeda, you're just glad you're getting that ball back and he's on second. That's a hanging slider to a guy that really should feast on that and does for only 2 bases. But you're just glad that one didn't end up in the Dodger bullpen.
Not a good sign here. Trainer Neil Ramp with Will Ireton, Kenta's interpreter. Not that we saw anything right there, but he's not had the same look about him for these first 35 pitches tonight.
Hitting his right hip right there with the baseball in his hand. I don't know if he has something going on with his lower half. Doesn't seem too animated, like he's in a tremendous amount of pain. They're just trying to communicate, get an honest answer out of him.
A new ball.
Kerwin Danley, the home plate umpire, said no visit. They were just checking on health. They're going to allow Kenta to throw one.
He didn't like that.
He didn't like the response he got from his body after that, and he's asking for one more.
That first warm-up toss, or that tester of a toss, Dave Roberts and Neil Ramp had their back to him, walking back to the dugout, so they didn't see the same reaction from him that we all did. Facing his counterpart, Jake Arrieta, with Alfaro at second and 1 out, and delivering a strike. Kenta Maeda's been very durable, not just with the Dodgers, but throughout his pro career. Never spent extended DL time in Japan. Was top 5 in the league in innings pitched 7 years in a row there. He gets Arrieta looking, 2 out. That's part of the reason why he's been able to put up numbers like this as we look at our Land Rover Performance Spotlight. Since his debut, he's tied for 5th in the National League in wins, and it is quite a list of who's who. But I'm not sure he's going to have a chance at one tonight because Neil Ramp and Dave Roberts are coming out again. Will Ireton came a little bit late and heard it from Dave Roberts not being out there right away.
This is after the last pitch. They saw something in delivery. He's saying, I'm fine, I'm fine. Dave Roberts does not want to take any chances, even though Kenta wants to stay in the game. He's saying, nope. Things are going too well with him to take any risks.
And so a 2 out in the second inning. Dave Roberts has to go into the bullpen. Kenta Maeda headed back to the clubhouse. man. We're going to take a break. Whoever he decides to bring in will have as long as he needs to get ready.
But the great Dodger pitcher's ability and the desire to pitch inside made him one of the most feared pitchers in big league history. The Van Nuys native.
For great offers on our most exciting lineup ever. Shop ChooseNissan.com. And buy Jack in the Box. Try the new Cholula Buttery Jack, part of the Buttery Jack family, only at Jack in the Box. Well, the decision is Scott Alexander, who pitched an inning last night through 16 pitches, part of a very good performance out of the bullpen. They'll need to be good again tonight. But last night, 5 shutout innings for him.
Since being recalled from AAA and figuring it out, this bullpen has been outstanding. Not only Alexander, but all of them. Goodell, Yimi Garcia, Cingrani has been fantastic. Kenley, during this whole streak of 9 victories, has got 6 saves and been perfect.
The look on Dave Roberts' face, saying, really? Season opening rotation. Just think about this for a moment. Clayton Kershaw, been in the DL for a few weeks. Rich Hill, been in the DL for much of the season. Hyun-Jin Ryu, been in the DL for a few weeks. And now Kenta Maeda leaving the game with some kind of injury. Even Alex Wood has not been completely immune, having left a couple of starts with leg cramps. Wood at this point, the lone man standing from the season opening rotation. You hope that Maeda's is nothing serious, but enough to take him out in the second inning here. Alexander against the top of the order. Cesar Hernandez, who doubled to open the game against Maeda and was stranded at second. One ball, no strikes. Most pitches Alexander's thrown in an outing this year is 27. When you're thinking about what kind of length can he give them here. Twice he's gone 2 full innings. His 1-0 is a little bit high and away, ball 2.
One of the hardest things to do is to come into a middle of a game for an injured pitcher, warm up in the middle of the diamond, and not rush through your warm-ups. You know everyone in the whole place is waiting on you. So I always worry about first few hitters when a guy has to warm up that way. The bullpen is like a sanctuary when you're down there warming up, even though you know you might come into a pressure situation, a tight game, maybe looking for a hold or a save. It's a sanctuary. It's your place. It's your home. It's where you've always gotten ready. Not in the middle of the diamond.
There's a strike. Hernandez will have to head back into the box. 3-1.
Even for a starting pitcher, warming up in the bullpen, we hear of so many starting pitchers that have trouble with their first inning. And they don't have to warm up down in the middle of the field, but just getting used to the mound, getting out there in the environment.
A little bit up, ball 4. So Hernandez aboard, 2 on with 2 out as Alexander tries to settle in here, put to work much earlier than he ever could have imagined.
The other thing that can happen to you is that, you know, in the bullpen you warm up and then you stand and watch the game, or if you're a starter you might throw 10 and then take a breath, get a drink of water, wipe off with a towel. As a reliever in the middle of the diamond, you throw your 35 or whatever you need to get ready, and then you start the game. There's no rest, and sometimes you got to watch your heart rate. You got yourself tired and you never took your normal breaks.
First at bat of the night for Maikel Franco, and he promptly puts it in play past Alexander, and no play. So the base is loaded on an infield single for Maikel Franco.
This ball barely gets away from Alexander, and then Logan Forsythe almost in a collision right there. If there had been a little contact, it would have been interesting what the call would have been. Logan slowed down. He could have ran right through, caused some contact, and probably gotten an out.
Yeah, he has the right of way when he's going to field the ball, and so regardless of where that contact happens, if he's in the process of trying to field the ball, the runner would have been called out, and the inning would have been over. Instead, they're loaded up for Odubel Herrera.
It's not like he would have got the batter runner at first, but he could have picked up the ball, tagged the runner that had to stop short of him, so there wasn't a collision. So that's where the out would have probably been assumed.
Key spot in the early stages of this game. Herrera with a hard bouncer that Forsythe can't field, and salt in the wound here. 2-run score, 3-0 Philadelphia on a ball that Logan Forsythe would tell you he should have had.
We'll take a look at the Carl's cam, and this is a tough break, one that Logan Charges doesn't get to. This one he has to retreat. Looked like he was anticipating maybe that ball is going to come off the seam of the grass, but doesn't, and hopped up just over his glove.
So 3-0, 2 gone for Carlos Santana, who flips around and bats right-handed with the lefty on the mound now. It's one of the reasons Dave Roberts wanted Logan Forsythe in there tonight, even with the right-handed Jake Arrieta, was for his defense at second. Ball on a strike.
Scott Alexander's done his job. He's a sinker baller out there throwing a tremendous number of those, but gotten 2 ground balls.
You know, by ultimate zone rating, which is an advanced defensive metric, I don't know how you are, but I don't have a defensive metric yet that I'm like totally bought into. But by this particular metric, Logan Forsythe a year ago was the #1 defensive second baseman in the National League. Alexander's 1-2, and Santana takes it outside.
Logan got off to a defensive slump this year, but that was mainly at third base because of the Justin Turner injury. So he was over there at third and also was struggling with his own shoulder issues, which affected his defense as far as the throwing. Yeah, we thought the defense would really get better.
Right to Forsythe this time, and he feeds Taylor on the bag to finish the inning. Maeda's out. The Phillies are up for the second night in a row with a 3-run second. To lead it off, and he takes on the National League today, brought to you by AARP. Third in the batting race, Scooter Gennett, of all people, is pulled out in front for Cincinnati, with Nick Markakis finding the fountain of youth like Matt Kemp has, and Odubel Herrera of the Phillies in the top 5 as well. And strike one from Jake Arrieta. A pinch hit RBI double last night. We talked about it when he came up last night. The lineup right now doesn't feel close to the same when he's not in it. A broken bat pop up. Alfaro not going to get there. Other than 2.
We comment on the size of Alfaro, and right here he catches it, looks for it. It's hard to get that big body started. Nice effort.
Other than 2 on Kemp, putting up his best offensive numbers since that huge 2011 campaign. A ball and 2 strikes. Only Ryan Braun finished ahead of him in MVP voting that year. Kemp hit .324, homered 39 times, drove in 126. And he stole 40 bags. He was the first guy to finish in the top 2 in the National League in home runs and in steals since Hank Aaron in 1963. Here he leads off the second and has worked it full.
Interesting to watch him around the cage today. He was talking hitting mechanics and approaches to the ball with his hands and the bat angle. A lot of guys that are hot don't usually do that. They just kind of stay locked in. I don't want to talk mechanics.
Reaches out and drags a soft bounce at a Kingery at short, whose running throw is in time to get a hustling Kemp, one gone.
Shortstop, number 3, Chris Taylor.
4 up, 4 down as number 4 gets the assist, and Jake Arrieta to face Chris Taylor. The bobblehead night coming tomorrow. Chris's family is in town from Virginia Beach. Got in yesterday. It's a big day for him and his family tomorrow. It might seem like a little thing, bobblehead giveaway, but I think what it represents for a guy who Seattle Mariners were fine just letting go, to now be somebody who has a bobblehead, right? It's
one of the first things in your career is exciting is to get a baseball card. And then to get a bat that actually they'll burn your signature in there, not just the stamped letters of your name. And I think now bobbleheads are going to be right on that list of exciting things that happened to you in your big league career.
On a 2-0 pitch, foul back, 2-1. You could be one of the first 40,000 fans, and you're going to get one tomorrow when the Dodgers and Phillies play Game 3. Celebrating his NLCS co-MVP award from Pirelli Tire. Go to Dodgers.com/promotions. It's a good one. Some better than others, right? Some look more like the guy than others. He looks at strike 3, 2 out.
Right fielder, number 66, Yasiel Puig.
Yasiel Puig. Two more hits for Puig last night. Tonight slides up into the 6th spot. And corks a line drive to left, but right at Nick Williams. Hard to hit it much harder than that. But right at the defense, and 6 up, 6 down for Jake Arrieta.
streak and compete to win $5.6 million. Download Beat the Streak today in the App Store or on MLB.com/BTS.
Now, if you're just joining us, Scott Alexander is in the game with Kenta Maeda leaving with some sort of injury last inning. Phillies have a 3-0 lead and send Aaron Altair to the plate to lead off this third. So far, a very similar script to last night when the Phillies got 4 runs over the first 2 innings. Dodgers hoping that it continues to follow that script. After the first 2 innings last night, the Phillies went 2 for 22. Altair with a bouncer to third, picked off by Turner. 1 out.
Number 5, Nick Williams.
And Nick Williams comes to the plate. He started the scoring with a leadoff home run last inning.
Taking a look at the Morongo slow-mo cam, a fastball in that a left-hander finally turned on with Kenta. Kenta had owned that inside part of the plate there early in the game, but not with this fella.
Fouled off, strike 1. Williams 24 years old. And you saw it a little bit there, him getting his hands in and showing the strength to lift that ball out of here. But he is a freakish athlete. Started in 3 sports in high school. Galveston, Texas. It's a bouncing ball to Forsythe at second. Took kind of a funny hop on him, but he gloved it. 2 up and 2 down. Now, Williams in high school, not just a star baseball player, but he was a star football player
Number 4, Scott
and basketball player. His best friend growing up is NFL receiver Mike Evans. They were teammates in all those sports at Ball High School in Galveston. Two out for Scott Kingery. Alexander so far doing what he does. 5 balls have been put in play, all of them ground balls.
Throwing strikes too, other than the 3-0 count to the first hitter after he warmed up in the middle of the diamond. He has been in the strike zone and some late sink.
Like that.
Yeah, that was a bigger one. The ones that the guys have been topping too have not been breaking a lot, but they've been breaking late. When they hit the top of it and they're not breaking much, you know that it's about when they broke. But that one was really deep.
Barely get a piece of this one to stay alive. You know, a big part of the bullpen struggles early on with the fact that Scott Alexander wasn't doing what the Dodgers were counting on him to do. And again, he's far from the only guy that was struggling. But they've really put a lot of stock in Scott Alexander. Bringing on him and Tom Kohler. Jam shot, center field. Cody Bellinger. 1-2-3 go the Phillies on 8 pitches as Alexander settles in to the bottom of the third. cricket, something to smile about. Aw, having a great time out in the pavilion tonight. Her first game, one would assume. Hoping for some runs. Dodgers down 3-0 as Eric Goodell starts to loosen. Scott Alexander has pitched 1+. And Logan Forsythe leads off this third against Jake Arrieta, who pours in a strike. Forsythe trying to atone for what isn't going to go down as a defensive misplay, but a play that he should have made. He's ruled a 2-run single. He swats one up the middle for a leadoff hit. And a hit in 8 of his last 10 games as he's showing signs of coming to life offensively.
I was afraid we were going to get no hit for about as long as we did last night, the way it was going. But Logan finds a hole up the middle. It was well struck.
Yeah, it was before that base hit, following almost an identical script to last night. And the Phillies got 1 in the first and 3 in the second. Dodgers went 5 innings without a hit against Vince Velasquez before getting the 2 in the 6th and the 3 in the 8th to win it. Leadoff man on for Barnes. He takes ball 1. Boy, how, I think the word that Dave Roberts used, and this is perfect, how funky was that 8th inning last night?
It was funky, and it was a very nice thing to see happen. In some ways, the Dodgers need to win a game like that. Just hadn't caught in a lot of breaks.
Breivik Valera just recalled today. Looks like he'll bat in the pitcher's spot. More good work from Scott Alexander.
Nice to see those two smiling. They've been working hard to get it right.
Two and one.
Rick used to throw the 2-seamer a lot, sinker baller, especially at the end of his career when he became a reliever. So real natural conversation to him to talk to another lefty about a sinker.
Ground ball is short. Kingery to Hernandez, but unable to pull the trigger. And a fielder's choice bounce out, 1 gone.
It won't be an error, but again, it shows the little bit of flaw that there is in the Philadelphia defense. Just not recording a very routine double play. See if the Dodgers can capitalize on it like they did last night in the 8th.
So Valera's first AB with his most recent call-up. Very good in Oklahoma City, hitting above 300, 6 home runs, more walks than strikeouts, which he did over the course of a full season last year. The Dodgers just really liking his at-bat quality in OKC right now. Strike 1. On base percentage down there of 393. Average is about 320. Able to lay off, 1 ball, 1 strike. Fly to left center field. Nick Williams, 2 out.
Number 13, Max Muncy.
Back to the top of the order, Max Muncy. Yeah, just kind of going back through that 8th inning last night and how odd it was when you really kind of document things that happened. You had a single off of Franco's glove to start it from Puig. The routine pop-up to Cesar Hernandez that turned into an error that allowed Hernandez to reach. Game tying hit came off of the pitcher's glove. Muncy, who's up now, hit that one, but a play that should have been made. And then the go-ahead hit from Grandal, that was against a drawn-in infield, and the exit velocity was 72 miles per hour, which is about 25 miles per hour below hard hit. Strike one on Muncy. But I mean, you said it. It kind of felt like they were due some of that.
You know, the probabilities of baseball, you know, the ball gets put in play, it ends up being a hit one time or another, even when it's not hit correctly or hard enough. But it just seemed like the probabilities had gone the wrong way for the Dodgers for a long time. They needed a string of those breaks.
Here's a throw down, not in time. Alfaro looking for every opportunity to show off that gun, and I think we're fine with that because as baseball fans, that is fun to watch.
There are so many things that are routine that are beautiful about this game. Double play if it would have got turned this inning. A routine ball to a third baseman where he has to throw accurately and hard across the diamond. And a catcher throwing out runners, or at least attempting to do it. It's a lot of fun to watch.
Arrieta to Muncy with a 1-1 pitch. And it gets by Alfaro. Barnes into scoring position and thought about heading for third, and then that flashback happened to about 15 seconds ago, and Alfaro showed his arm, and Barnes thought better of it.
This will be a wild pitch on a curveball in the dirt. He tried to block it, but he got by. Deflected all the way up the screen, about halfway.
Jake Arrieta, one of those guys that you've got to be able to cash in against when you get an opportunity. Here's a gift with the wild pitch. And now Muncy with a man in scoring position takes ball 3.
His ERA has dropped a 1/10 of a point so far here in this game. He's in the top 6 in the National League. So he has been pretty dominant this year.
Muncy hooks a one-hopper to Hernandez at second, who throws in time to get him, and that's that. Through a 3 at Dodger Stadium. The Phillies in front 3-0.
Dodgers fan and many Dodger players, but first a bit of the backstory. Michael Cadena was bullied and had his favorite Dodger hat stolen today. The Dodgers Blue Wishes program wanted him to be able to come and watch BP meet some of his favorite players, including Cody Bellinger, and throw out the ceremonial first pitch. Now, Michael suffers from Apert syndrome, which is a genetic disorder characterized by the premature fusion of certain bones that prevents the skull from growing normally and affects the shape of the head or the face. He's still very independent. He takes the bus or scooter to work every single day, and no matter where he goes, you guys, he's wearing either a Dodger hat or a Dodger t-shirt. So this Dodgers organization could not stand to think that he did not have his favorite hat. They loaded him up with gear and had a very special moment for him before the game today.
Very cool. Very cool stuff, Alana. We appreciate the report. Sarah Goodell comes on for this fourth inning, placing Scott Alexander and delivering to Jorge Alfaro. Starts him with a breaking pitch that's raked foul.
Scott Alexander did a very nice job. Now Goodell taking over, and he has done very well in a Dodger uniform, mixing in the two-seamer, the split finger, and the curveball.
Pitched a scoreless inning last night through 16 pitches. Barnes calling for a high fastball, and he uses it to get strike two. Good spot to be in against a free swinger like Alfaro. Ahead of him 0-2. Fastball is popped to right for Yasiel Puig. He's got it. One gone in the fourth.
Number 49,
You're talking about Jorge Alfaro and how it would have to be very tempting with a guy with as much strength as him to just try and crush it 500 feet every time he comes up. And it made me think of a story I was reading about today in relation to this date in baseball history. Jake Arrieta stands in and takes strike one. You know the name Dale Long? I wouldn't expect you to necessarily. Hitter, yeah.
Left-handed hitter from Milwaukee?
Mostly Pittsburgh.
Okay.
Yeah, but
yeah, I do
1950s and 60s.
Yep.
1 ball and 1 strike on Jake Arrieta. This dated 1956. He carried a major league record 8 games in a row with a home run streak into a game against the Dodgers. In fact, reached that streak against the Dodgers the day before. But the reason it popped up on this day is that on this date in 1956, Don Newcomb put an end to that streak. And the reason that it makes me think of Alfaro is because soon after that streak of homering in 8 straight games, Dale Long went on a 2-for-54 stretch and admitted that it's probably because I'm trying to hit the ball 900 miles. It's the way that he put it.
Nuke not only broke that streak, I think he had a double in that game.
Bases clearing.
Wow. Help himself.
Yeah, Don Newcomb, once his major league career finished, 1962, went to Japan, played outfield and first base, and in 81 games hit 12 home runs. The best hitting pitchers of all time. Goodell downhill 2-2. On the corner, strike 3.
Second baseman, Cesar Hernandez.
Third time to the Phillies order now. Here's Cesar Hernandez. There's a double and a walk. Shows bunt, takes a curve, strike 1. Hernandez, for the longest time, was kind of looked at as a placeholder at second base, with a couple of the Phillies' top prospects being middle infielders, both of whom have debuted at this point. First J.P. Crawford last year, now Scott Kingery this year. But he's gone from being a guy that's just holding a spot until they show up to somebody that a lot of teams have talked to the Phillies about as a trade candidate. And the asking price has become very high. Phillies didn't want to let him go. Got his first everyday opportunity when Chase Utley was dealt to the Dodgers 2015. He's become a great worker, very studious hitter, and a leader for this young roster. Three balls, one strike. Turning point for him a couple of years ago, because he was always a pretty light hitter. He's really struggling. Pete McCannon, the old manager, benched him and said, look, this is not rest. You're going to be sitting on the bench the rest of the year if you don't change your approach at the plate. That's a strike and the count is full. Pete McCannon said, look, you are a fast guy. Hit the ball on the ground. Take advantage of who you are with your speed. Stop this uppercut swing. Batting practice immediately looked better. Started hitting more line drives with a different kind of swing thought. Back in the lineup 2 days later and took off. Takes ball 4 here to keep this 4th inning alive. In fact, his first day back in the lineup after that lesson from Pete McCannon, he went 4 for 4 and hit above 320 the rest of the season. That's been the hitter that he's been really from that moment on.
A lot better to hit the ball on the ground if you spray it nowadays, because if you only hit it on the ground and hit it to one side or the other, you're going to have a tough time hitting it through 3 guys. So I'm sure along with that advice, he's been hitting it down the line like he did in his first at bat, down the left field line, and we've seen him be able to pull the ball also.
And it's kind of funny that since he got back to a little more traditional small guy approach, the power has come as he stopped trying to hit the home runs. He's bulked up some. That's helped too. With 2 out, Maikel Franco takes a strike. Hernandez's first 4 years in the majors, he was 165 pounds and hit a total of 8 home runs in those 4 years. And overhauled that approach, refined the approach at the plate, put on 15 pounds, and hit a career high 9 homers last year, already 7 this year. Takes off. Throw to second from Barnes is high, and a stolen base for Cesar Hernandez.
Hernandez with a decent jump. Goodell wasn't super fast to the plate, so Barnes had to rush his throw. You could see the head start he got, and Austin tried to shoot out of there. The ball shoots up on him, but I think Hernandez is safe no matter what Austin does.
The rule that Franco offered, so nothing in 2. Goodell trying to buckle down, keep this a 3-0 game. Franco takes it, 1-2. Stays alive. Former top Phillies prospect here, Franco. He's making a case for Rookie of the Year a few years back before he broke his wrist, and they had high hopes for him. I think even Mike Schmidt, who was one of his mentors at spring training, said that he thinks there's MVP potential in him. But the last 2 years have brought him back down to earth. On base percentage, one of the lowest in the National League. Swing and a miss on a breaking pitch, and that is it for the Phillies in the fourth. Couple of scoreless relief innings for the Dodgers so far.
Don't cheer, don't cheer.
Facing the Phillies, and on this date 2010 for the Phillies, the late Roy Halladay throws a perfect game in Miami, 20th in the history of baseball at Sun Life Stadium, in a game that they won 1-0 with the only run scored and a Chase Utley line drive that Cameron Maeda misplayed. All right, en route to his Cy Young season. Jake Arrieta to Justin Turner opening the fourth. It's ball one. Roy, of course, passed away this past November in a plane crash in the Gulf of Mexico. Very sad, very tragic thing. Let's pop back. Alfaro gives it a look. It's a souvenir, and it's 1-1. Utley gave one of the eulogies at the funeral, which was beautifully done. Longtime teammates in Philadelphia. Chase said what he remembers most about that day in 2010 was how humid it was in Miami. And the thing was with Roy Halladay that season, being a Cy Young year, pretty much every day felt like it could be a perfect game. 1 ball and 2 strikes. And so there wasn't necessarily one point where you thought, huh, this is different, because it seemed like every time Halladay took it, he was mowing through the order once and then twice, and you look up and no base runners against him as that game gets late. Chase has the rare ability to be able to not get nervous in those spots, because I think a lot of fielders with a perfect game going start to tense up. You don't want to be the one to make a mistake. That's a bouncing ball, smothered and left by Kingery, throws offline. Turner's got a base hit to open the fourth. And Chase's philosophy is, look, as soon as you start thinking about it, self-fulfilling prophecy kind of thing, you're probably going to make a mistake. Final out of that perfect game, actually, believe it or not, was put out by former Dodger coach Juan Castro, who you'll see here. Chase Utley playing second base. Former Dodger Carlos Ruiz catching that perfect game. Cody Bellinger takes ball one.
Roy Halladay had pragmatic stuff and location, but a little bit more power and coming out of a big man, but tremendous movement to both sides of the plate and very, very accurate.
Two and on Bellinger. Chase compared Roy Halladay and his approach to Clayton Kershaw. How serious he was about his business. The between start routine. The regimented schedule. So actually Clayton's probably a little bit more laid back on the days where he's not starting than Roy was. Always a very serious character. Bellinger taps it back to Arrieta. Guns to second one. Kingery to first. A double play.
Number 27.
A.J. Burnett wrote an article on the Players Tribune today about Roy and talked about what a great teammate and friend he was, what an impact he made not only on his baseball life, but how he learned to understand himself. And Roy was a mentor to him.
2 gone for Kemp. You know, later in that 2010 season, remember Halladay pitched a no-hitter in the playoffs. Game 1 of the NLDS against Cincinnati. Chop foul. His first postseason start. And it was a no-hitter. First postseason no-hitter since Don Larson's perfect game. Ball on a strike. Tony Cingrani getting ready. Hard hit, base hit. That Kemp keeps on rolling with his average close to 500 over the last 2 weeks.
Number 3, Chris Taylor.
Well, he's hit a lot of balls hard this year and found holes, but also deserved most of them. That one right there in the 6th hole gets him a knock.
Yeah, gets Chris Taylor to the plate with 2 out here in the 4th. Chris in this series has struck out at all 5 ABs. Oh, and 1. Oh, and 2.
Everybody said this Dodger offense is going to get going when Justin Turner gets back. Well, that did happen, and Matt Kemp's production has continued. But it's really not going to be a long lineup and a productive offense until Cody Bellinger and Chris Taylor find some consistency. CT and Cody right now are really struggling. Cody a little bit more than CT, even though CT's been striking out so much lately.
Arrieta home with a 1-2. Taylor slashes it to right center field. That's down for a base hit. His first of the series. Back-to-back 2-out hits. And Yasiel Puig comes up representing the tying run.
Chris slices this over there to right field. Making contact for him right now is a nice thing, and gets that hit, brings up a hot hitter.
Who was 0 for 1, but drilled a line drive his first time. It just happened to be right at Nick Williams and left. Puig, the rough first month of the season, then the DL stint. Opportunity for him to reset as much as anything. And since coming off of the DL, hitting close to 300. All 5 of his home runs. On an 0-1. Backs up, taken for a strike, 0-2.
He's had a couple good pitches to hit here in these first 2. The fastball was up and running right towards him, and then that ball hung.
Foul tipped into the Faro's mitt, and that's the inning. Couple of base hits, but nothing to show for it.
Join T-Mobile in showing appreciation for all military by sharing a photo or video with the hashtag #HatsOffForHeroes. For each post, T-Mobile will donate $1 to support veterans.
By your Southern California Toyota dealers. Your summer starts here at your Toyota dealer. Get incredible deals on a stylish new Corolla. 3 runs in the second for the Phillies. They lead 3-0 to the top of the 5th. Tony Cingrani, the 3rd Dodger reliever already, with things put in motion very early today. If you just happen to be joining us, Kenta Maeda leaving the game in the second with an injury. From Alexander to Goodell, and now Cingrani.
Harken back to May 19th, the second game of the doubleheader against Washington, and you saw a string of relievers like this come out and win a game because of Rich Hill developing that blister early on in that game.
Part of the order here with Odubel Herrera to lead it off. One ball, no strikes. Cingrani started to look again how he did early on this season when it appeared that he was emerging as a potential high leverage guy that Dave Roberts could lean on. Two balls and no strikes. Two and one, and for Kenta Maeda update, we go down to Alana.
Guys, we're just getting word that Kenta Maeda was removed in that second inning with a right hip strain, for Dodgers starter Kenta Maeda.
That's exactly where you saw him kind of hitting the baseball. First time the trainers have gone out there. Herrera with a sky-high pop-up that Justin Turner squeezes one gone.
First baseman Carlos Santana.
Santana to the plate with one out. The base is empty. Upstairs, ball one. Tony Cingrani, Evergreen Park, Illinois, originally, and went to Rice to play his college baseball. As a sophomore, Cingrani's ERA was above 8. And before he headed home for the summer after that sophomore season, stopped by the coach's office to see if they even wanted him back the next year. It had gone so badly. That's it, foul. That's 1-2. And the coach said, well, yeah, but got a suggestion for you. And that was to go pitch in a collegiate summer league and try to iron things out there, work on some mechanical flaws. So he did that. Shifted him into the bullpen the next year, and soon after had become one of the country's best relievers. But he was wondering if they even wanted him back. At the bottom of the zone, strike 3 on Santana.
Right fielder Aaron Altair.
Two out in the 5th, Aaron Altair. Cingrani's in there with a strike.
Cingrani hit a little bump in the road this year. Had to take a little rest with a dead arm. The shoulder was bugging him a little bit. Looks like he's back up to his normal velocities and accuracies.
It's up the middle, past a diving Forsythe for a 2-out base hit.
Be sure you hit the sand in style this summer. Head to Dodger Stadium Wednesday, June 13th versus the Rangers at 7:10 p.m. The first 40,000 fans in attendance will take home a Dodgers beach towel courtesy of Chef Marito Seasonings. Visit Dodgers.com/promotions.
And once that date hits, you can officially completely dress yourself in giveaways.
And have your arms full of bobbleheads.
Yeah. Nick Williams. They got him. Cingrani picks off Aaron Altair and faces the minimum here in the 5th. Gabe Kapler saying hold on. They're going to take a look. Definitely had him leaning. Did Muncy get the tag? You bet he did. Cingrani's downward slide, remember, began with a balk call on a throw to first back in late April. No call there. Well done. He picks off Altair. We're halfway home in this one. The offense trying to get it cranked up against Jake Arrieta, down 3-0. 5th, and so far a very similar story to last night's game. I think we came into the booth about this same point. Dodgers were down 4-0, and I asked you, how did they get to Vince Velasquez? Tonight I ask you, how did they get to Jake Arrieta?
Well, hopefully the same way. They got 7 hits, you know, from the 6th inning on, got some runs, but Jake Arrieta has thrown the ball really well with good movement in the strike zone. He hasn't really thrown a lot of change-ups. He's mixed in the curveball, but it's really been him in the strike zone and the Dodgers not hitting the ball in the strike zone.
Former TCU Horned Frog delivers 0-1 and misses inside. A ball and a strike on Logan Forsythe. He's 32 now. Was born in Farmington, Missouri. Grew up in Plano, Texas. The house where he grew up was across the street from his town's Little League fields. So his dad would get home from work, and the first thing they'd do would be head across the street, get some practice in, shag some fly balls, take some ground balls, take some BP, walk back across the street and have dinner. Forsythe looks at strike 3, 1 out.
Jake's a pretty good hitter. He's a 173 career hitter. Hit 262 one year, the year he made the All-Star team. Struck out twice today, but that BP his dad threw him has paid off. The arm's paid off a little bit more.
Yeah. 3 years, $75 million, with team options for 2 more years. Austin Barnes takes a strike. Arrieta was a very interesting case this offseason. See Chase Utley in the on-deck circle with the pitcher's spot due next. Out of that very odd free agent market. He waited around, didn't sign until 2 weeks before opening day. Turned down an offer from the Cubs. Theo Epstein had called Jake Arrieta and said, this is the offer, and it was a good one. Take it or leave it. And he was open with him. He said, if you don't take it, tomorrow we're going to offer you Darvish. And Arrieta said, you know what, I think I'm going to keep on looking, and moved on from the Cubs. Place where he won a World Series, won a Cy Young. Barnes cracks a bouncer to the hole. It's cut off by Franco, whose throw is in time, 2 out.
Fifth inning for the Dodgers. Number 26, Chase Utley.
Up comes the old Philly, Chase Utley. First round pick out of UCLA way back in 2000. Debuted with the Phillies in 2003. Hit a grand slam for his first hit in a Phillies uniform. Ahead of Arrieta, 1-0. Of course, was a part of the World Series in 2008. 2009 took the Phillies back to the World Series. Hit 5 home runs in that Fall Classic, tying a record. The Phillies losing to the Yankees that year. Part of a stretch for Chase Utley, who's one of the top 4 or 5 players in baseball. Two and 1.
Always admired him from afar, but didn't really figure out how special he was as a player and as a teammate until he became a Dodger.
Hammers this ball to right center field. Altair moving over, and Herrera comes together and makes the catch. That looked like a collision waiting to happen, with Herrera and Altair both full head of steam at one another. Not only did they dodge a bullet in the collision, but boy, that thing goes how it looks like it was going to. A run might come around to score. Baseball on Sportsnet LA is brought to you by BMW. See a Southern California BMW Center today for exceptional offers or visit SoCalBMW.com. Back in Los Angeles, where the Dodgers trail the Phillies 3-0 to the 6th inning, and Pedro Baez comes on. No hits allowed in his last 5 outings.
May's been a good month for him. ERA just over 2. He's pretty equal with left-handers or right-handers. They're both hitting him a little over 200. A little better against lefties.
Which is what he'll face to open this inning. Nick Williams was up there when last inning ended, with Aaron Altair getting picked off first. More good work out of the bullpen so far tonight. Alexander, Goodell, Cingrani. 1-run charge to Alexander, but he was getting what he wanted. That was ground balls. Just one of them happened to sneak through. Nice looking change up, 0-2.
Slider, change up. Expected fastball with Pedro's pedigree. That's what most people expect, but he's mixing in more off-speed stuff now.
One and two. Baez pitches. The count evens at 2-2. Full count.
Pedro, beginning of the year, made a concerted effort to have a little better rhythm, a little quicker between pitches, but he's fidgeting out there tonight. He's wiping his face with his sleeves, trying to find the right grip on the ball before he stands on there, adjusting the hat. Something about suffocating a hitter that you can, when you're throwing strikes and you get back on the rubber and you can just come right at them. And even if they won't let you throw because they don't step in the box or they're not ready, it feels like you're right on top of them. It really bolsters your confidence to feel like, you know what, I'm not scared and here I come, and I'm coming a lot quicker than you want me to.
Winds up striking him out with a nice changeup.
Friday on an all-new Backstage Dodgers, check in on Corey Seager as he begins his rehab process after having Tommy John surgery. Plus, Seager is mic'd up in the dugout during a Dodgers win over the Rockies. Don't miss Backstage Dodgers, presented by Cadillac, Friday after the postgame show on Sportsnet LA.
Well, the base is empty and 1 out. Here's the shortstop, Scott Kingery. Hooks one inside the bag, past a diving Turner. Kingery's got extra bases. It's a 1-out double.
Kingery reaches, Turner reaches, and Kingery reaches second. Right down the line. Had him out in front, maybe a little lower, he rolls over it, but pitch was high enough that he was able to still get enough barrel on it.
Phillies trying to add some insurance here in the 6th inning. All 3 runs in this game came in the 2nd. Jorge Alfaro scored one of them after doubling. For their 42-year-old first-year manager, Gabe Kapler, who is a local guy. Went to Taft High School. He's from Hollywood. Now, Gabe started his college career at Cal State Fullerton, or at least his time in college. Never actually got going as far as the career goes there. Gabe has admitted that he decided he didn't need to go to class that first semester, and so Augie Garrido, the legendary coach there, said, well, you don't need to go to class and you don't need a scholarship. And he yanked it from him. That's strike 1 on Alfaro. And so Gabe Kapler dropped out of Cal State Fullerton before he even finished the first semester of his freshman year. Spent the next 8 months living at his parents' house back in Hollywood. He's working it as a pizza delivery guy at Earth, Wind, and Flower. Nothing in 2. There's a great story on Philly.com this week from Matt Breen, kind of detailing the background of what makes Gabe Kapler tick. How he got to the big league manager's chair. It was 8 months at his parents' house, just taking some community college classes on the side. And he enrolled at Moore Park College, about 40 miles northwest of Dodger Stadium, and made the team there through a walk-on tryout. Alfaro slaps one down the line, a fair ball base hit. And the Phillies have taken a 4-0 lead on back-to-back doubles against Baez.
Pitcher, Jake Arrieta.
We talked about Alfaro's size and his power, but on this one right here, just kind of fooled on it, but cut down on his swing and just made contact. And that's what he can do when he doesn't try and do too much. He should do that more often.
A couple rookies string those doubles back to back, and 4-0 Philadelphia. Jake Arrieta to hit for himself. One ball and no strikes. So Kapler goes to Moore Park and made a promise to himself at that point that he may not be the most talented guy, but he was done having anybody outwork him in any phase of his life. So he started obsessing over health and fitness and his diet. I don't know if you can tell, but he eats well.
I guess he does.
Yeah.
I don't see an ounce of fat on him.
College team would stop for post-game burgers and he'd order a grilled chicken sandwich and just throw the bun away.
I've been around a guy like that.
Sounds like a good dude. 3-0 on Arrieta. The team had a couple guys that worked at a pizza parlor, and they'd have meetings there on Sunday nights, little team get-togethers. And I think he's probably grown in his understanding of what the right move to do is at a pizza parlor if you're really trying to eat well. But he would scrape the cheese off and just eat a pile of cheese, which doesn't seem particularly healthy. But staying away from those carbs, I guess, staying away from the crust. 3-1. And then less than 2 years after he had been kicked out of Fullerton, achieved a dream when he was drafted by the Tigers. Went on to play 12 years in the major leagues. Still beat the odds to do that, though. He was a 57th round pick. That round doesn't even exist anymore. Full count. To this day, very, very in tune with his diet and fitness regimen. It's fouled off of Barnes. Alana, you've got more on Gabe Kapler.
Guys, I had a conversation with Gabe earlier today for our pregame show, and I asked him what was the biggest challenge of being a first-year manager. He said, just not enough hours in the day. I said, well, are you still working out like a maniac? He's like, well, just not as much anymore. He said, I did get my sprints in today. I said, are you bringing over all of the organic food that you had while you were with the Dodgers organization? He said, well, these guys are pretty smart. I'm kind of letting them do what they want to do. He said 95% of this job I love. 5% is a lot more challenging than I would have expected, but he's having a great time. Still working out, just not as much because there's just so much more to do now as the manager of the Phillies.
Whatever he's doing is working. How many managers do sprints in the outfield?
I don't think many. One.
Yeah. Baez winds up getting Arrieta swinging. 2 out. Speaking of managers, landmark win for Mike Scioscia tonight.
Yep, the Angels beat the Tigers 9-2, and Scioscia won his 1600th game, passing Tommy Lasorda for the 20th most managerial wins in history. And that's all of a sudden a landmark for me in my mind, because I never thought Scioscia would win more than Tommy when Scioscia was playing for Tommy. And Scioscia would say, I am not going to manage. No way I'm going to manage.
They put Hernandez on intentionally here. Take their chances with Michael Franco.
So now for him to pass Tommy, I'm going to have to put him on a different rung on the ladder in my mind. Congratulations, Mike Scioscia.
How do you think Tommy feels about getting passed by Scioscia?
I don't know. I'll text him or call him tonight and ask him. If I want to get the answer in about 3 days, I would text him.
Tommy's not a real fast texter.
No.
Strike one. Does he start a new line for every word like you?
Hey, watch it. Hey, watch it. No. Usually his assistant is the one that texts me back.
Franco lines it to center. It'll hang up for Bellinger, and that finishes the Phillies in the 6th, but they add one on back-to-back doubles from the 7 and 8 hitters and lead it 4-0.
Down 4-0. Time now for our Wells Fargo look ahead, and we take a look at the pitching probables for the final 2 games of this series. Tomorrow, Zach Eflin up against Ross Stripling. Ross Stripling has been tremendous as of late, being able to use every single pitch he has for strikes in any count. Then on Thursday, the much-anticipated re-debut of Clayton Kershaw coming off the disabled list. Kershaw not pitching since May 1st. Up against Aaron Nola. It'll be good to have Kersh back on the mound, gentlemen.
That is for sure, Alana, and especially with the bullpen getting taxed today, it's nice to know that you have him coming to the end of this series. And nice to know you have Ross Stripling coming tomorrow with the way he's been pitching. Top of the order, down 4-0. Here's Max Muncy to lead off against Jake Arrieta. Strike one. Dodgers have won 9 of 11 since a 6-game losing streak. 5-2 on this homestand. Taking 2 of 3 from the Rockies, 2 of 3 from the Padres, and then winning the opener last night against these Phillies. 1 ball, 1 strike. Ball 2. Muncy with a line drive base hit to center. Third time the Dodgers have had a leadoff single against Arrieta tonight, trying to cash in for the first time now.
Phillies have got 1 double play from Arrieta. They should have had 2. He's getting a few ground balls and a lot of weakly hit balls, but right there, Muncy squares him up. That could be a start.
Could we get more symmetry from last night? The Dodgers entered the 6th inning down 4-0. They got 2 in the 6th last night and then 3 in the 8th. Arrieta to Turner. Justin 1 for 2. Got off to that red hot start when he was activated. Running off that adrenaline and fresh legs. And he kind of hit the grind of the season. He settled in 6 for his last 33. Although one of those 6 hits was his first home run. Couple of all-stars facing off here. Arrieta to Turner with an 0-1 pitch. 0-2. It's in on him. Franco near the dugout. It looks like has room. Turn to the first out of the 6. I know we've gotten a lot of questions about the cameraman that took the spill last night. You got a little bit of unofficial info on that.
He received an awful lot of stitches and I think left the emergency room somewhere near sunrise around 4 or 5 a.m. He's doing okay, I've heard.
Scary fall.
Especially when he was probably jolted just because he was looking through a lens and the ball was headed that way, so it startled him. So whatever happened after being startled, you know, things just fell apart as far as losing his balance and then falling, and what a shock.
One ball, no strikes on Cody Bellinger. Muncy at first, one gone. A 4-0 game in the 6th. 2-0. I think Alfaro kind of gave up on that one. In this day and age of framing, where guys go out of their way to make everything look like a strike. On a 2-0. Bellinger takes ball 3. It gets by Alfaro, and Muncy advances into scoring position.
Alfaro chases this one with his glove in the wrong direction, trying to frame that one, but that was a good 8, even 10 inches off the plate, so he needs to flip his glove around the other way.
Got it backwards on those 2 pitches.
Sure did.
That date you can see on his glove there, September of 2015, in Alfaro's catcher's mitt. That's the date of his son's birthday.
This is where Dave Roberts' placement of Cody Bellinger in the order might get him a pitch here. 3-0 count, man on second, first base open, but Matt Kemp behind him.
Instead, ball 4. They're first and second with 1 out.
Did I interrupt you in a big way?
No, I mean, I was just talking about the guy's kid. You were talking something much more important.
I was looking at baseball, and I heard you say about the date on the back of the glove, and I thought the story was over.
No. I mean, it's not much. He had a son who he loves very much and has devoted his career to him. And
I apologize.
No,
to both of you.
You are fine. Really, it's just ABL you need to apologize to, his 2-year-old son who just had the spotlight yanked from him. Matt Kemp, 2 on, 1 out. Dodgers trying to crack through against Arrieta here in the 6th. Strike 1. Kemp 1 for 2 tonight. One of the best in baseball in these situations. Long way to go in this season, but if you somehow were able to keep that average around there, that's one of the highest averages in the last half-century with runners in scoring position. Gets just under it. Sends a towering pop fly into short left field, where Scott Kingery makes the catch with the infield fly rule in effect. 2 out.
Matt kicking himself and his bat as he went down the first baseline. Threw the bat down just lightly, but it happened to carry him back into his path. Boy, you got a fastball right down the middle that was just tailing. As hot as he has been and as big as the ball probably looks to him, he knows he missed it. Let's look at this pitch right here to a very hot hitter, and it's like, oh no.
You not miss too many of them like that. So up to Chris Taylor with 2 on and 2 out. Strike 1. Dodgers with men on base tonight, 1 for 8. And even though they're 9-2 in their last 11 games, it's kind of been despite the offense. Been carried by pitching. Offense still yet to really get it going. Quickly 0-2.
Arrieta's really been moving the ball east and west against the right-handed hitters. That tailing fastball running in on him, and then taking the slider and the curveball and breaking it away from him.
Tails the fastball back in, strike 3. Jake Arrieta's 6 shutout innings tonight. Series with the Phillies at 7 o'clock tomorrow, 4:30 on Thursday, then a 6-game road trip, 3 with the Rockies and 3 with the Pittsburgh Pirates. 5th reliever of the game for the Dodgers is in, Josh Fields, in a 4-0 game in the 7th.
Josh has only had a couple bumps in the road this year. He has been really one of the more reliable relievers the Dodgers have sent out there on their batting average against under 200, so that tells you a lot. The effectiveness this year has a few less high fastballs trying to get people to chase and a few more breaking balls and changeups.
Part of the order coming up here. It's Odubel Herrera to lead it off. Before he was a Major League Baseball player, he was a star volleyball player in Venezuela. Wasn't until he was 14 that he really started focusing on baseball. In fact, Odubel Herrera was on the Venezuelan youth national team on the volleyball side. And then realized there's probably a little higher ceiling for him as a baseball player. Fouls it back with a big rip, and it's 0-2. He was right. I don't think you can sign 5-year, $30 million deals in volleyball.
Not as a setter.
No, and I don't imagine he was anything else. Libero, perhaps. Back row defensive specialist.
Most of the guys with the great serves are tall, too, with the jump serves. Glad you defined libero. I was going to be lost.
I think that's right.
Don't expect the truck to help you there.
They're the ones that wear the different colored jersey.
Oh, okay. They get to substitute in on as the rotations are when they would only be in the back.
Sounds right. 1-2. Nothing like a good game of pool volleyball on a hot summer day.
Okay.
I just always picture the meet the parents scene.
Oh yeah, and the spike to the face.
Breaking ball bounced over a leaping Fields. Well positioned Chris Taylor fields and throws him out.
First baseman number 41, Carlos Santana.
With one out in the 7th, here's Carlos Santana. Santana trying to extend his 6-game hitting streak. Takes a cut at a high fastball, comes up empty. 0-1. The Dodgers didn't want to trade Carlos Santana. They originally signed with him out of the Dominican Republic back in 2005. Pops this one up into right center field for Cody Bellinger, who will put it away to gone.
Celebrate the Dodgers pinch hitting whiz Manny Maeda at the Dodger Stadium game here on June 9th versus the Braves. The first 40,000 fans in attendance will receive a Manny Maeda bobblehead presented by Jack in the Box. For tickets, visit Dodgers.com/promotion.
Hold it together over there.
I couldn't when you started reading the promo and saw that I missed a word. You're too particular.
Aaron Altair takes ball 1 from Fields. You're just usually so smooth on those, and that one didn't have your usual.
It was not smooth.
No. Double checking the monitor. Pop back 1-1. Pushes it foul. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Josh Fields with a chance to work a 1-2-3-7. Jake Arrieta, by the way, at 82 pitches right now, so still plenty left in the tank for him.
He has not pitched well on the road this year. He's been outstanding at home, but he's been outstanding here tonight.
Just kind of odd because ballpark in Philly, the ball really flies well.
A whole new MO of him getting more ground balls.
Yeah. Two. Fields has a 1-2-3-7. A lot of life to that fastball in the high 90s. We stretch. He'll sleep soon. Brewing Company. Jake Arrieta tonight, 6 shutout innings on just 82 pitches thus far.
Been absolutely fantastic. We've hit the ball hard at times, but only a few have fallen in for hits. I think he's had the strikeout ball working, the ground ball working. And he's still got some pitches left. 109 is his high this year. That was his last start.
Bottom of the order, Yasiel Puig hits the first pitch foul. Boy, that 2-seam has just been diving tonight.
When it's been slightly up, it's had great run. When it's down, it has been going down. And the breaking balls have been solid, but I think it's the fastball that really has been the most effective pitch.
Ball on a strike. It's the most that he's ever relied on the fastball here in 2018. Even though the velocity's down, not getting as many strikeouts, more ground balls here in his 9th major league year. Falls behind Puig, 2-1. Started his career in Baltimore, then to the Cubs, now the Phillies. 3 balls and a strike on Puig. And when the Cubs acquired him in 2013, at the time he had an ERA above 7. In fact, his few years in Baltimore, the single worst starting pitcher ERA in franchise history. And so the Cubs put him in AAA when they got him. Puig tries to lay off but can't, and the count is full. Baltimore had tried to get him to overhaul his delivery, not use that crossfire motion that comes natural to him. And when the Cubs got him, they encouraged him to pitch however he felt comfortable. And he cited even pictures back to when he was 10, 11 years old where he has that same crossfire delivery. It's just how he throws. Puig checks his swing and has a leadoff walk.
Baseman number 11, Logan Forsythe.
Here's Forsythe. Single and a strikeout tonight for Logan. He's at least 1 hit, 8 of his last 10 games since returning from the DL for that month stint with his shoulder. One ball, no strikes. And Yasmani Grandal placed in the on deck circle by Dave Roberts, with Austin Barnes due next. It's a strike, 1-1.
It's a good one to take right there. Roll right over that ball with the depth it had right there and located right on the corner. Get something out over the plate or get something elevated slightly.
On a 1-1, Forsythe watches it just miss. Kerwin Danley typically more of a pitcher zone, but pretty tight tonight. LA native Kerwin Danley, 2 decades as a big league umpire. Here comes Arrieta's 2-1. Good take from Forsythe. Ball 3.
lose a little off your fastball. You know it's later in the game. Got a nice lead, but Arietta's looking for some corners right now. He doesn't want to throw the ball near the middle of the plate.
High drive down the line, hooking towards the pole, and foul.
Talked about getting some out over the plate, something elevated possibly. He found one right there. Just a little too quick on the trigger.
Puig at first, nobody out. Dodgers trying to start something in the 7th. Arrieta's 3-2. Forsythe grounds one to short, should be 2, and is.
Ground ball has rescued Jake Arrieta tonight a few times. He got away with a mistake. They got pulled foul for a home run distance and got the double play.
And with the bases wiped clear, Dave Roberts no longer looking for the thunder that Grandal might bring, and he sends Barnes up there instead. Barnes looking for his first hit in 10 days. Gone even at 1-1. Two and 1. Spent some traffic against him. 5 hits, couple of walks, but 1 for 10 once runners have reached for the Dodgers. On a 2-1 to Barnes. It's a bouncing ball to the hole at short. Kingery pops to his feet and throws late. Instant replay of Justin Turner's infield single earlier tonight. And the Dodgers with a 2-out base runner.
Hitting for the Dodgers.
Middle infielders love to make these attempts. Sometimes they make the play because they know it's right on the edge of their skill. Kingery thought maybe, just maybe, if I could have got up a little bit quicker, maybe with a little more balance, I could have got him.
Peterson pinch hitting. Takes a big rip and misses. Strike 1. Jock has established a very patient approach this year. He's taken a lot of walks, but the power has disappeared, and now trying to get to a spot where he can kind of find a happy medium between the two, between all or nothing that you see from him sometimes in his career, and the super patient approach now. It's 1-1. Dodger fans know this is a guy that can hit the ball a long ways, but it's been a long time since we've seen him do that. Arrieta's crossed 100 pitches. Here's his 1-1. That's in the dirt, ball 2. Three balls, 1 strike.
Jock's game before, going through all the different swing changes when he was doing that and had the power stroke, but His inconsistencies, his game was power and his game was on base percentage by drawing the walk. Now he's got the on base percentage, but the power has waned and the average really hasn't gone up to where you'd say it's an even trade-off yet.
And a power count here at 3-1. It's a soft bouncer past Arrieta to second. And Kingery throws to get him. That's the inning. To the 8th we go. All Phillies in this one. Phillies up 4-0 to the 8th inning. We check into the studio for a preview of Access Sportsnet Dodgers, presented by your Southern California Ford dealers.
All right, thanks, Joe. So far, Jake Arrieta looks a lot like the Cubs' Jake Arrieta we saw for many years, Jerry.
Keeping the ball down, he has been as advertised.
After the game, Jerry Nomar will break it down. We'll also hear from Dave Roberts, get an update on Kenta Maeda. We'll see you after the game.
All right, guys, look like we've seen the last of Jake Arrieta. Giving high fives and handshakes a moment ago at 103 pitches through these 7 shutout innings.
62 of those 103 were strikes. He relied heavily on the fastball. 66 fastballs tonight, 45 for strikes. He wasn't afraid to throw it with that great movement in the strike zone.
And Daniel Hudson keeps the parade of relievers going. It started very early tonight with Maeda leaving the game in the second with an injury. Nick Williams to lead off the inning. Strike one. And Williams, our top-tier play of the game, brought to you by Arcos, started the scoring with a leadoff home run in the second against Maeda.
Kenta wasn't around very long, ended up with a right hip strain, but before he left, Nick Williams got him. Seems like Clayton Kershaw coming back to the rotation on Thursdays in the nick of time, depending on how serious Kenta's hip strain is.
Drags that one off of the dirt, charging Forsythe, one gone. There really has been some kind of awful run of luck for the starting rotation. When you look at the top of the start of the season, at the top of the rotation, Clayton Kershaw obviously missing several weeks with a biceps tendonitis. Rich Hill has been on the shelf for much of the year with a finger problem. Hyun-Jin Ryu, the groin injury. Maeda down with an injury tonight. Alex Wood, the only guy standing from the original rotation this year. Scott Kingery. 1 ball, no strikes.
Coming out of spring training, a lot of the national experts thought that the Dodger rotation might be a little thin, not enough depth this year. But boy, with Ross Stripling doing what he's done, and Walker Buehler stepping in and doing what he's done. And then at times all the other pieces, including Kenta Maeda, had their moments where they did well before getting hurt.
Soft grounder, Chris Taylor just in time to get a Speedy Kingery 2 out. Yeah, it's really been the depth that, again, like you said, was questioned in the starting rotation coming in, but the depth that has carried the rotation.
Clayton had stretches where he was really good. Ryu was the best starter on the Dodgers staff before he got hurt with his groin, and he was really good. The guys that ended up having to fill in for them have been outstanding, especially Maeda, Stripling, and Buehler.
And a good night for Alfaro. One of the highest swing percentages in baseball, and he chases strike one. One and one. A ball, 2 strikes. The Phillies having lost 3 of 4 as Hector Neris starts to get ready. Actually came into this game in 3rd in the division. Washington Nationals 20-6 in their last 26 games. Of course, 3 of those 6 losses came to the Dodgers in that 3-game sweep. But the Nats have moved into 2nd. Everybody chasing the Braves. Daniel Hudson with a 1-2-3-8, getting a strike out of Alfaro to finish it off. Dodgers baseball on Sportsnet LA is brought to you by El Pollo Loco. Try $5 combos at El Pollo Loco, like the original Pollo Bowl with chips and a drink. Phillies getting 3 in the 2nd and 1 in the 6th tonight. They take a 4-0 lead to the bottom of the 8th. And Hector Neris comes on to pitch against the top of the Dodger order. Phillies really don't have a traditional closer. He's the closest thing they've got, but Gabe Kapler going to use him in a 4-0 game in the 8th here.
Giving him a little bit more breathing room. His last 9 appearances have not been good. 0-2 with a couple blown saves, and ERA over 7. So They're trying to get him back on the bump and get him on the horse and start throwing the ball well again.
Dodgers have crushed him in his career. He's the guy that they had that memorable night against last April, hitting the 3 consecutive home runs in the 9th inning and eventually winning it. Max Muncy to lead off this inning, then Turner, then Bellinger. 2 of the 3 guys that hit those home runs. 1 ball, no strikes. And at this point, anybody but Arrieta typically feels like that on a night where a starter is so good. You get him out of there. Doesn't matter who you bring in out of the bullpen. It gives you a glimmer of hope. Ball and a strike. Bottom falls out there, 1-2. Muncy yanks one down the line. That's a nice start to the inning. A leadoff double for Muncy.
Max Muncy continues to hit, picks on a hanging split finger and drives it down the right field corner. Fan reaches out, but then realizes what they should do and pulls the glove back quickly. Nice play there in the corner.
Yeah, not many fans have the presence of mind to do that. You don't blame them. Ball comes bouncing. Of course you're going to grab it.
If you like your seat, you'll pull your glove back.
That's true, though. So the Dodgers try to get some 8th inning magic again. So they won the game in the 8th inning last night with 3 runs. Raced a 4-0 deficit, largest come from behind win of the season. You can't help but notice the same score here. Nearest to Turner, 1-0. Base hit center field. Muncy will come in to score. The Dodgers on the board, stringing together back-to-back hits to open the 8th.
Only been about 11 months since Neris could only get 1 out and gave up 4 earned runs last year against these Dodgers. Doesn't seem to like Los Angeles this time of year.
Bad memories for him. And already some more stirring down in that Phillies bullpen. This is what we're talking about. Late April a season ago, Puig started the 9th inning with a home run. That cut it to 2. Bellinger on the next pitch hit one of his own, 2nd of his career. And then Justin Turner tied it before they beat Neris on an Adrian Gonzalez ground ball that Michael Franco at 3rd booted. Bellinger the hitter now, taking ball 1. Bellinger hit each of the first 2 home runs of his career on that night. Had one in the 7th inning, and then that bomb in the 9th against this man. 2 balls, late strike call. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Cody's had enough troubles of his own. He doesn't need any help from Kerwin Danley, and that ball was really wide.
Cody feels like the baseball world is against him right now. 0 for 2 tonight, 3 for his last 40. Bottom falls out, 1-2. Tommy Hunter. Same pitch, different result. Bellinger watches it miss, and the count evens up. He can reach. Matt Kemp would come up, representing the tying run. Full count.
With Neris in that split finger, if it's low, let it go. If it's high, let it fly. Cody trying to look at every pitch closely, trying to recognize it as soon as possible.
Some of the Dodgers remarked how last night felt a little bit like 2017. Gives you a reason to believe as they begin to mount something here in the 8th. Double from Muncy, single from Turner, and now Cody Bellinger on a full count pitch. Strikes out. And what would have been ball 4, 1 out.
Left fielder, number 27, Matt.
This pitch was not a competitive pitch very long. Cody, when he's seeing it right, would take that out of hand.
So 1 on 1 out, Matt Kemp. 1 for 3 tonight. Kemp had a big hit in the 8th inning rally last night. A pinch hit double. One and out.
Late in the game, down by more than a couple. You are just looking to build an inning to bring the tying run to the plate. Dodgers still working on that structure right here. Had a real shot with the 3-2 count to Bellinger.
That one fades in there for a strike. 1 ball, 1 strike on Kemp. Top 5 in the National League with that .337 average, 6 home runs. And ahead of Neris, 2 balls, 1 strike. 2-2. Kemp yanks one over, leaping Kingery at short and into left. 3rd hit of the inning, and they do get the tying run to the plate in the 8th.
Just an outstanding piece of hitting. Picking up the split finger, having enough swing left to get this ball in the air. Slightly fooled on the speed, but tracking the bat right to the area and staying on it.
Gabe Kapler coming out. Looks like that may do it for Hector Neris. He takes it from him and he'll call on Tommy Hunter, with Chris Taylor coming up representing the tying run in the 8th. Offseason for the Phillies, trying to bolster that bullpen. So far, he's been a disappointment with an ERA above 5.
The disappointment has been current for him too. His last outing was on the 27th against Toronto. Only could go 2/3 of an inning. Gave up 3 hits, a couple of earned runs, a walk. So he's looking to get back on the beam also and get things headed in the right direction. The Dodgers hope he continues to spiral downhill.
And Chris Taylor coming up. He's had some big swings through his time in a Dodger uniform over the last couple seasons. And looking for one here on a night where he's 1 for 3. But up representing the tying run. Can they do it again in the 8th? Ball 1. Dodgers among the leaders in all of baseball at this point in runs scored in the 8th and the 9th inning. Been doing it a lot lately. Come from behind win in Washington a couple of weekends ago. Of course, last night. Ball on a strike. Turner at second. Kemp at first. Taylor hits a ground ball to third. Franco will step on the bag, throw across the diamond late. Taylor legs it out and keeps the inning going.
Right fielder number 66.
Pretty routine the beginning of this, but right here Franco trying to get his feet squared away so that he can time it. Taylor had enough time to beat it out.
So it'll be up to Yasiel Puig. For the Dodgers in the inning, leadoff double from Max Muncy. Turner singled him home. Bellinger struck out. Kemp singled, and now the fielder's choice from Taylor. Two on, two out. First one. Puig grounds one up the middle. It bounces over the bag, and Cesar Hernandez throws Puig out. You hoped for a moment that it would find that bag at second and maybe ricochet its way to a little more magic, but instead they settle for one. Tonight, I hope to see a Dodger comeback win as Daniel Hudson is back out there for his second inning of work. But a pretty good effort from the bullpen tonight, all things considered.
It sure has been. A couple of scratch runs, but they have done their part, especially when they had to come into the game after an inning and a third, an inning and 2/3 when Maeda left.
And Rhys Hoskins, who is the guy that fouled the ball off his face last night and has the scar to prove it, pinch hits to lead off the inning. Yeah, it takes a fastball up and in.
The location of that first pitch from Hudson will remind you of this one. Well, this one, instead of getting out of the way, he swings at, fouls it off, lands on his face. Scary moment.
On the corner here, 1-1. For a 25-year-old out of the Bay Area. Stayed in that area, went to Sacramento State. Hoskins went undrafted out of high school, even though he's a very good player. He never played in any of the showcases or in the travel ball leagues. Wanted to be able to focus on 3 sports. So he played football, played basketball, was a post player, grinder inside. Pulls a base hit to left. It gets to the wall, and Hoskins opens the 9th inning with a double.
Number 16, Cesar Hernandez.
Hoskins not having the best of years, getting off to a slow start. Can you imagine if a foul ball to the face is what turns him around? I mean, that's a pretty nice response from that at bat that scares you. All of a sudden you get a double in the next at bat.
It's like rookie of the year, Henry Rowan-Gardner, right? He throws out his arm and becomes a big league pitcher.
I think that's where a lot of people thought that all of a sudden Tommy John surgery will make you throw harder. It's like, no.
See the movie, go to the doctor. Ball on a strike on Cesar Hernandez. Mentioned tonight that Jake Arrieta grew up in a house across the street from his town's Little League fields. And Cesar Hernandez grew up across the street from a Winter League park in Valencia, Venezuela. Some of his best childhood memories are walking across the street, going to games there, and picturing himself one day playing as a pro. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
That was my home stadium one winter ball. I played for Maggiani's. He's not old enough to have seen me play there.
Into left center field. Kemp coming on. He will bobble it. And unable to make the play.
Now, from up here in the booth, Matt Kemp made an outstanding effort. I was going to talk about his jump, his route, his speed. He did everything up until the very last portion of this play. Just clanked him right off the thumb of the glove. But boy, did he do everything right up until that moment.
So now Hudson really going to need to do an escape back to keep this a 4-1 game. The Dodgers within striking distance for the 9th inning as Maikel Franco bats. At the knees, strike 1.
Dodgers bringing the infield halfway in on the left. Once he's in at first, they don't think the Phillies will go here. They're not really playing double play depth either. They're just kind of in between, seeing what's going to happen. Really use the strikeout. And down by 3, you need to take a couple shots at getting a strikeout here. Not worrying about a crooked number. You take the risk here and look for the reward of trying to post a 0.
Big bouncer off of the play, but it stays foul.
The Phillies are running on contact. Both runners moved up or were attempting to. So the Dodgers either going to have to come home with it or turn the double play.
Did he go? No swing. 1-2.
Just held up.
Base hit center field for Michael Franco. And that is 3 consecutive hits to open this 9th inning for the Phillies against Hudson.
Number 37, Herrera.
To hanging slider and just starts to back up on him at 86 miles an hour. Ends up really like a bad fastball when you hang him like that. It is hard to throw a good one every single time.
Two on, still nobody out. No Odubel Herrera's up. Hammered to center. Bellinger retreating. He's going to have room for the first out. Hernandez tags and takes third. First and third, one away.
Number 41, Carlos Santana.
Can you believe that when this one's complete tonight, the Dodgers will be a third of the way through their season?
It really feels like now we are in the baseball season. It's way past, okay, it's early and it's kind of past when are they going to get it together. And they got a hot streak and the National League West kind of slumped back to them as they were winning. And so yeah, now we're starting to get into the grind. Kind of experienced everything. Now we're going to see who you are completely.
Strike one on Carlos Santana.
Good years made up of long hot streaks and short cold streaks. So now we're going to have to respond to the rest of the schedule and put it together. They've won 3 series in a row lately, and it started out with a sweep of Washington, which was kind of unexpected. A lot of the other series that we thought they were going to get going against Miami or San Diego, Cincinnati, those didn't happen, but all of a sudden it got turned around against Washington.
I mentioned it earlier, but besides that series for the Nationals, over the last month, they're 20-3. 20-3 against everybody else. 0-3 against the Dodgers. Hudson's 2-1. Santana grounds it foul. Strike 2.
And this consistent streak with interruptions, but a streak of winning consistently can continue. Even if this turns into an L, they can still win this series against Philadelphia by winning the next 2 games. They can end up a homestand at 7-3. So they, this one is looking like a tough one. But, there's still a couple games here left in this homestand after this against these Phillies to really make it a nice homestand.
Before they go back to the road, 3 over the weekend in Denver and then 3 next week in Pittsburgh. With a good Pirates team, well, they've come back down to earth the last few weeks. Hudson home 2-2. Santana pulls a fly ball to right field that sends Puig back. It's over his head and off of the wall. And they're knocking Hudson around here in the 9th inning. RBI double for Carlos Santana. They've extended the lead to 6-1.
23, Aaron Altair.
Ball's up. You see the target. You see the reach by Austin Barnes. And when it's up in their eyes, a little easier to see the whole baseball and hit the whole baseball. And that's what they're doing. You mentioned that trip starting out in Colorado. They're going to probably be the team that's in first place. And so they'll have a chance to make a dent on that.
1 ball, no strikes on Aaron Altair.
Both Arizona and Colorado won tonight. So that lead is going to get stretched a little bit on the Dodgers.
Now the Rockies offense waking up the last couple nights against the Giants. The win you mentioned tonight, 11-4 on 15 hits. 4th night in a row the Rockies have had double-digit hits. 1-2. Rockies had 8 doubles in the game tonight against San Francisco.
A big expansive outfield in Colorado lends itself to those extra base hits when it finds the gaps there. Other than Arizona, the National League West is pretty tight when they play each other. Arizona's 16-8. Now they're 16-9. Colorado's 13-11 now. Dodgers are 2 games under 500 against the West. San Francisco, they're 13-16, so they're not that far behind when it's just playing the West. Pretty balanced division.
Here's a payoff, and Altair takes ball 4. Hudson wanted strike 3 called, won't get it. Bases loaded. He's thrown 36 pitches now.
Number 5, Nick Williams.
He has to deal with Nick Williams.
Dave Roberts doing everything he can to have Daniel Hudson finish this inning. This is not about damage control as much as not going to the bullpen anymore.
Got a fastball by him at 96, 0-1.
He's used everybody in the bullpen but Kenley Jansen and Yimi Garcia. Yimi pitched yesterday and is also still continuing to have his workload monitor a little bit. Coming back, hasn't pitched in a while in the big league level or the minor league level. Still building him up.
This against the Phillies offense that the last few weeks has been struggling. It's the first time in a couple weeks they've had double-digit hits in a game. 6 runs on 12 hits tonight. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Really hard to be Daniel Hudson right now. You know there's nobody behind you. Your pitch count's getting up there. You're already disappointed in what's happened in this outing. You got to find a way to pump yourself up and make sure this still counts emotionally and passionately.
Pop near the dugout. Barnes over to give it a look, but out of room. This is already 12 more pitches than Daniel Hudson has thrown in any game this year.
Many more, and if it all of a sudden the Phillies would keep scoring, this might be the type of game you end up seeing a position player pitch. It would probably have to get to about 9-1 for that to happen.
Two and two. Muscled into center field, slicing away from Bellinger. He'll run under it and fire to third. 2 out.
Number 4, Scott Kingery.
Like Alana told you earlier, a couple good pitching matchups still to come in this series. Dave Roberts coming out. There's nobody warming.
I think he's just giving him a little rest and encouragement to get this done.
Anyway, Zach Eflin tomorrow. Ross Stripling for the Dodgers. Ross trying to build off a couple very good starts. Very good numbers overall. A 1.74 ERA. And then Clayton Kershaw makes his return on Thursday against Aaron Nola, who's been the Phillies' best pitcher, better than even Arrieta so far this year. Scott Kingery, the 8th man to bat here in the 9th. Takes ball 1. One and one. Hudson really digging deep right now. Previous high was 27. Still got 94 with a fastball, 2-2.
A lot of times it's not the given night when you extend that pitch count that you feel it get stiff. It's the next day. He will definitely be down tomorrow and probably down the next day as far as availability.
Able to get Kingery really fighting tonight. Daniel Hudson. He's tagged for 2 runs in this 9th inning, but has to wear it with a situation that he was in and did his best to battle through. Alexis Jake Arrieta tonight, 7 shutout innings.
Tremendous movement, location. When all of a sudden you looked like you were going to get him, he'd get a ground ball, get a double play. He didn't walk a lot of guys, you see, but he didn't strike out a lot of guys. A lot of balls in play, but get the ball at people and pitched very well.
Edwin Ramos hit another hard thrower out of this Phillies bullpen, who has been very effective this year.
ERA under 1. Yes, it's going to be a tough hill to climb against him, especially with a 5-run lead.
Bottom of the order coming up: Forsythe, Barnes, and then the pitcher's spot. Fastball, strike 1. Third year with Major League time for the 25-year-old out of Venezuela, who induces a pop-up off the end of the bat that Cesar Hernandez runs under for the first out of the 9th.
Catcher number 15, Austin Barnes.
The Dodgers 9 hits in this game. 9 hits and a couple of walks, but just 1 run to show for it. Still trying to get that offense going. Starting pitching has been so much better. The bullpen prior to tonight, over the last 11 games, best in the National League. But the offense yet to really click.
The offense really classified as just enough. If they're going to ham and egg it on the nights when the pitching doesn't really shine, they're going to need that offense to be a little bit more consistent. Put up some 5 spots, some 6 spots every once in a while, not just 3s and 4s.
1-2 on Barnes. Two balls, 2 strikes. Kemp, another couple hits tonight. His average at 341 now. Barnes unable to lay off. 2 quick outs in the ninth. Kike Hernandez to pinch hit.
Pinch hitting for the Dodgers. Number 14, Kike Hernandez.
Takes ball 1 low. One and one. Boy, they have Kemp at 341. Turner at 275, having played a couple of weeks. Next highest guy, Yasmani Grandal at 260.
You know, through this stretch where they've been winning and hope to keep winning, it's really not been the offense, runners in scoring position, or the offense as far as average. It's just been the power has been there.
Yeah, it's overcome the lack of hits. Just kind of backwards from early on. They're searching for those home runs, but among the leaders in the National League during the 11-2 or the 9-2 run in home runs. Without one in this series so far. Down to their final strike here. Hernandez hits a fly ball to center field that Herrera sizes up. All Phillies in game 2 to even the series at a game apiece.
Well, the bullpen put in a lot of work. It didn't work out very much at the end, but without the offense, it gave them an L, and they need some help tomorrow offensively.
To try and support Ross Stripling in game 3 of this series. For Hershiser, Lana Rizzo, and the rest of our crew, Joe Davis saying so long from Dodger Stadium. Stay tuned. Access Sportsnet Dodgers begins now.